I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just sat beside her on the laundry room floor while our life quietly collapsed between folded clothes. I don't really know how to start this. I've rewritten the first line like 6 times already, and none of it sounds real enough. Or maybe the problem is that it sounds too real. Like the words are just sitting there, staring back at me like they know something I don't. So screw it. Here's the truth. I don't know who the hell I've been married to for the last 10 years. My wife and I, well, Claire and I, we've lived in the same sleepy Indiana town since we were kids. High school sweethearts, small town love story, the whole cliché. We've got 2 kids, Ava's 8, and Jake just turned 5 last month. We do the soccer practice and the Friday night movie night and the church potlucks like clockwork. People around here say we're one of the good ones. That family you just know made it. I used to feel so lucky to have that. Honestly, I thought we were solid. Not perfect, who is? But normal. Safe. That kind of quiet trust where you could go to bed without locking the emotional door because you figured no one inside would rob you. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, I was up late budgeting bills on our desktop. Claire was asleep upstairs after another exhausting day, and I needed to dig up a receipt from her email. She gave me her password years ago because she's always forgetting the damn thing. So I logged in without thinking twice. I wasn't snooping. But here's where it all started to decay, and I swear it felt like the earth cracked just a little under me. While searching for the receipt, I found a password reset email she never deleted, for an Instagram account I didn't recognize. The username was nothing obviously fake or spicy or anything, just something generic like Claire.in.motion, or whatever. But I'd never seen her post under that name before. And the profile picture wasn't her usual smiling mom of 2 face. It was a selfie, just her eyes and lips slightly parted. No smile. Kind of sensual, not explicit, but this weirdly confident version of her I didn't quite know. My stomach dropped. I clicked. The profile was private, but the bio hit me like a punch to the ribs. It had a quote she'd told me years ago, something dumb and flirty. I only dance in kitchens and bad decisions. That was ours. Or, I thought it was. From there, I don't know, man. I spiraled. I felt queasy. There were a few posts visible, just captions, and one of them said, "Your arms are the only place I ever slept right." I don't remember logging out. I just sat there for what felt like an hour with the screen burning into my face. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I took Ava to her math test, packed Jake's lunch, went to work like my marriage wasn't suddenly held together with thumbtacks and hope. 2 days later, I did what I now wish I'd never done and also had to do. I used the reset email to log into that account. I feel sick saying that. I know it's a privacy violation, and I've got no excuse. But I had to know. Had to. Because the moment you realize the person you trusted most might be a stranger, it starts gnawing at everything. Even little things, how she kisses you goodnight, when she smiles at a text, if she lingers a moment after a hug. You start rewatching it all, frame by frame. And then I saw them. Pictures of her and some guy I'd never seen before. Not naked, nothing like that. Mostly just selfies, her head on his shoulder, feet tangled up on a dock somewhere, her in a hoodie I don't own. One video of her laughing while he poured wine. The captions weren't all hearts and stuff, but it was there. The intimacy. The inside jokes. The way people write when their heart's all tangled up in something they know they shouldn't want. I don't even remember half the captions, honestly. I just remember one that read, "When the world quiets down, I still hear you." I closed the laptop. Just sat there again. I wish I cried. I didn't. I felt blank. Like someone pulled the batteries out of me. I confronted her the next day. I didn't yell. I couldn't. I was too exhausted already. I showed her the pictures and asked, plain as I could, "Who the hell is that?" She didn't lie. I don't think she even tried. Didn't cry either, not at first. She just sort of folded in on herself and whispered. It wasn't physical. I swear. I didn't believe her at first. Still don't totally. But she insisted. Said it was emotional. Someone she met through a parenting Facebook group, of all places, some dad in a different state. Started off innocent. Typical, wow, we're both tired people trying to raise humans kind of bonding nonsense, and turned into late-night messages, voice notes, disappearing photos, apparently. And eventually connection. Intimacy. Then love. Her word, not mine. She said she never met him in person. And I don't know why, but that somehow made it worse. Like she didn't even need to touch him for him to become her home. It's weird how people think cheating is about sex. That's almost the easiest part to forgive, in some backwards way. Like you can box it up and say, okay, a moment of weakness, maybe it didn't mean anything. But emotional betrayal? That's a slow kind of erosion. That's someone setting up camp in your wife's head and staying there, shoes off, with full kitchen access. After she told me it wasn't physical, I just stood there. I asked her, "Do you love me?" She didn't answer. That was the part that cracked me. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I went outside and mowed the lawn. The grass didn't even need it. The lines were all jagged and shitty. I just needed to push something heavy through something stubborn because there was a pressure building in my chest like I might shatter. I mowed dumb circles around the swing set where Jake always pretends he's a spaceship. Just circles and circles. That night, we slept in the same bed, but it felt like air between us had turned to stone. She faced the wall. I stared at the ceiling, trying to count the tiny dots in the light fixture, like it would fix anything. She kept her phone upside down on the nightstand. That detail stuck in my brain. The next day, we had to put on the show. Get the kids to school. Talk to other parents. Smile in the parking lot while your entire life is burning in slow motion behind your teeth. I remember Ava looking at me like something was off, and I wanted to collapse right there in the cafeteria line. I'd never felt that kind of invisible before. Like I was still going through the motions of a life that someone else had quietly withdrawn from. Claire texted me around lunch. Can we talk tonight? I stared at that message for 10 minutes before even typing, yeah. And I still didn't mean it when I sent it. But what else was I supposed to say? No, you've annihilated my concept of reality, and I'd like to avoid eye contact until death. That night, she sat across from me on the couch like I was a counselor, not her husband. She brought tissues. I didn't ask her to. She started with, "Please don't leave." I waited. She kept going. Said she started talking to him. His name is Tyler, because of course it is, about a year and a half ago, when Jake got pneumonia and I was working 12-hour days trying to keep our auto shop afloat during that dry winter. And Claire said she felt alone. Said I wasn't emotionally available. I laughed. Like actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I'd spent 2 straight months that winter skipping meals and sleep, and weekends trying to earn enough to buy that ridiculous Paw Patrol bed Jake saw in the catalog. And she was messaging this guy about feeling unseen. I told her, "You think I wanted to be unavailable? I was drowning." She said, "I was too." And that's when I realized we were both drowning, just not in the same part of the ocean. She cried then. Full body sobs. Said she hates herself. Said she'd end it. Already blocked him. Said she'd delete the account too. Asked if I'd go to counseling with her. Said she doesn't want to lose me. Loves me. And she said that last part like it was supposed to wrap everything up in a neat little bow. Like love was the reset button. But here's the thing. I don't even know what love looks like when trust has a hole in the center. Like, I believe she thinks she loves me. But I also think she needed to hide a version of herself somewhere else because the one she became with me wasn't enough for her anymore. And yeah, we started counseling. 2 weeks ago now. 3rd session is coming up. The therapist is nice. A little too calm for my taste. He says crap like, circle back to the origin of that emotion. And meanwhile I'm sitting there trying not to bite off my own tongue because I've been holding it for months. I haven't told anyone. Not even my brother. Not my best friend since we were 12. Not even my mom. And she asks if Claire's eating enough every time we call. It's like I don't trust anyone to not take sides. And the side I don't want to lose is also the one that nearly broke me. I still sleep next to her every night. She reaches out sometimes in her sleep, hand brushing over my arm like muscle memory. I flinch almost every time. And I hate myself for it. But I can't stop. It's like touching a hot stove, even though I know I shouldn't. I tried holding her hand last night, just to see if it felt like ours again. It didn't. Some nights I find myself just watching her. It sounds creepy, I know. But I lie there after she's asleep and try to get back to the version of her I used to know. The Claire who once wrote me a post-it note that said, "I like your stupid face," and stuck it to my steering wheel before a road trip. The Claire who did those obnoxious dances while brushing her teeth. The one who cried on our wedding night. Not because we were married, but because her feet hurt and she didn't want to take off her shoes yet. Lately, that girl's gone. Or at least buried under layers I don't know how to peel back. A week ago, I found out Tyler messaged her again. This was after counseling. After we sat in that stiff room with the ticking wall clock and did the "tell me how that made you feel" charade like good little damaged people. I walked in from work and she was in the laundry room, sitting on the floor like she'd collapsed mid-fold. Just holding her phone with a stare I hadn't seen on her in a long time. Like someone told her a war had just ended, and she didn't know what to do with the silence. She told me before I even asked. I'll give her that. He messaged me, she said. Voice flat. From a new account. I didn't respond. I deleted it. Then she pulled her knees up to her chest and said too quietly, "But I wanted to." It felt like a confession and a betrayal rolled into one. I didn't yell then either. I sat down across from her, on the damn laundry room tile. The dryer humming behind us. Smelled like fabric softener and heartbreak. And I think that was the worst moment so far. Not smashing the mug 2 days before in the sink because I was trying to do the dishes and suddenly couldn't connect with the why of it anymore. Not the night I cried in the garage so the kids wouldn't hear. Not even when I saw those pictures. No, the laundry room broke me because it proved something I didn't want to accept. She missed him. Still. Maybe not him. Maybe just how she got to feel around him. Light. Not responsible for 2 kids and a man with cracked knuckles and spine-deep stress. Someone who thought she was clever with her half-formed poetry and little wine-drunk rambles. Someone who didn't remind her of exhaustion. I left the house, got in the truck, drove past the town border, and sat in the lot of that old gas station on 9th and Meadow. Just watched trains go by like I used to when my dad was dying. Nothing really helpful about it, but the motion's comforting when your thoughts are too loud. Part of me wanted to text someone. Just drop the wall and bleed it out onto someone I trusted. But then the questions would start. Could I forgive her? Did I want to stay? Was love enough? And all I kept thinking was, I don't know. Before this, I believed I was the kind of man who would know. That if someone betrayed me, even emotionally, I'd walk. Protect my pride. Start over. You cheat, I leave. I'd say back when the stakes were theoretical. But it's not that simple. When your daughter draws a picture of your family with all of you in bright colors holding hands, and labels it my safe place, you bite your tongue. When your son whispers, Daddy stay, after a nightmare because he thinks your arm around him keeps the monsters out, you bite your tongue. And when your wife cries over the laundry because she wanted someone else, not even permanently, maybe just for 5 minutes, but still chose to sit home instead of run, it gets harder to know who you are anymore. The counselor said something strange last session. He looked at me and asked, is there any room in your pain for the possibility she still cares for you deeply? I wanted to tell him to go away, but I couldn't because the truth is, yes, there is room. I know she loves me, in her own wrecked, inconsistent, messy way. Maybe she loved him too, some watered-down fantasy version of love fed by novelty and emotional escape. I don't know. That's the brutal part. I don't know, and I may never actually know all of it. But I know this, she didn't leave. And neither did I. We're still doing the damn dance. Touching the edges of emotion in counseling, sleeping with a cautious gap between us, parenting like we're not wilting quietly under the routine of it all. Last night, she held me in the dark like she used to back when I got laid off 6 years ago and couldn't sleep without that shame monster crawling across my chest. She didn't say a word, just wrapped herself around me and breathed slow and deliberate until I matched her. And I hated how much I still needed that. Hated how despite everything, I wanted it. 2 days ago, I watched her in the backyard with Jake. He was trying to kick a soccer ball, but he kept tripping over his own feet and laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. Claire was bent over, laughing too, real laughter, not the careful kind we've been doing in public lately. For a second, she looked like someone I used to know. Not even someone I'd lost, just someone I hadn't seen in a long time. It hit me all at once. She looks tired. Not just in the surface way, like needing sleep or needing a break, but in the existential, nothing feels easy anymore way. The look of a person trying to build something that already collapsed once. That's the thing people don't tell you about staying. It's not noble. It's not dramatic. It's 1,000 small, miserable choices. Eat together. Smile for the kids. Don't cry at work. Schedule therapy. Say goodnight, even if it sounds like a question. Tell yourself not to check her phone. Tell yourself it would only hurt more not knowing. Tell yourself again. And again. And again. The truth is, I still don't know what I want. Isn't that insane? 3 months ago, I was so sure. I thought faithfulness was binary. You either are or you aren't. I thought love was a single rope you pull on until it either snaps or lifts you higher. But now it feels like a brute tangled net. You pull on one piece, and it pulls everything else. Some nights I fantasize about leaving. Just taking the kids and moving to South Bend or wherever. Somewhere I'm not the guy whose wife broke his heart. But then I wonder if they'd be happier with us apart. Or if they'd grow up watching their parents learn how to stay, and maybe that would teach them something too. Then I get scared that staying will teach them to settle. The other night, Claire asked me if I wanted to go on a walk. It's October, so the trees are on fire in that way I've always loved. The air had that sharp quietness of fall. We just walked. No destination. Just sidewalk under our feet, and leaves crunching like secrets beneath us. After maybe 20 minutes, she stopped and said, I don't think I miss him anymore. I didn't say anything. Not because I didn't have things to say. Just, I was so used to holding everything in by then. The silence felt safer than words. She continued, I think I missed the way he saw me. Like I was still interesting. That one got me. Because I hadn't thought about it from her angle. Not really. I assumed it was about me lacking something. But maybe in her eyes it was about herself fading, and needing someone else to reflect her back differently. And God help me, I understood it. Not excuse it. Not forgive it. But I knew that feeling. Because I stopped seeing myself clearly too. Somewhere between being provider and dad and husband and local fix-it guy, I forgot I had a soul. Forgot I had music I once liked and shirts I actually felt good in. Marriage doesn't warn you when it turns into maintenance. You just look up one day and realize you've both been painting the walls while the floor's been rotting underneath. She reached for my hand that night, just gently, like an apology in motion. And I let her. I didn't squeeze it back, but I didn't let go either. That's where we're at now. Ambiguous survival. Kind of like a house after a storm, windows intact, but water damage you can't totally see. We go to therapy. We talk more now, oddly enough. Not always deep stuff. Sometimes just normal things, like how she wants to repaint the kitchen or jokes about becoming one of those moms who drinks wine in leggings at noon. But every so often, there's a moment. A touch that lingers. A quiet cry after the kids go to bed. A question she's afraid to ask. A fear I'm not ready to admit. I still check the locks at night. On the doors. On my heart. I still wonder if I'm too soft for staying or too scared to leave. But the other day, Ava made a drawing. It was us stick figures again, holding hands. But this time, in front of what looked like a house with flames on it. I pointed to it and asked what happened. She laughed and said, "That's not fire, Daddy. It's the leaves. Fall is when the trees wear fire because it's their favorite color." And I swear something in me cracked open. Something about how she saw beauty where I saw burning. So maybe we're not healed. Maybe we're still bleeding in invisible ways. But maybe that drawing's enough to make me try one more week. One more step. One more day of trying to see her clearly, to let her see me. To speak like we used to, not just about bills and bedtime and therapy, but about things we used to say when our souls weren't so scared. Even if I can't trust everything yet, maybe I can trust that. The trying. And maybe, just maybe, that's how love survives. Not as a spark, but as a decision.